Hi, Dove here, and today we have a new art process video, and this time we're doing an overview of this specific sketch. I think it's a chick. She's sort of an empress, or um, I'm not sure if she's Chinese or Japanese. Maybe it's Japanese, but she's essentially holding this sort of smoking pipe, and yeah, that's the reference photo I found on Pinterest. Again, I do recommend Pinterest. Because you have like loads of references that you don't even have to choose or try to find them. They will just recommend you. Obviously, if you save photos, the algorithm will sort of adapt to your likes and such. So I was so happy I found this one because I really like the shapes. You know, I think she's wearing some kind of is it a kimono? I'm not sure, but it's one of those traditional looking clothing or garments, and in this case she's actually she's almost exposing her shoulder. It's almost at the edge, like it's about to fall off. So there's sort of this sort of a story that's being told, and I also like the way the lighting was done. If you're trying to use reference, I do recommend, especially if you're doing like black and white sketches with like lots of shadows, pick a reference photo where the shadows are clear. If the image is too bright, it's so hard to be able to find those shadows. So because if you have like big shadows, really clear shadows, obviously it's easier to illustrate and you can find the shapes just much faster, and it's just more enjoyable, right? So I think at the beginning I did use my left hand because of my right, wrist and elbow injury. But eventually around halfway, or almost halfway, I switched to my right hand because I was actually kind of frustrated because the lines were just, right now it looks good, as a block in, but if I really want to go in there and really, fix things up, be a bit more deliberate, more accurate, I'm going to have to use my right hand. Thankfully, my right hand, although not fully healed, there is some mobility, and I was so happy that I was able to use it. Even though limited, it's still usable. I think right now I did make the switch. You can tell by the speed of things, by the accuracy, and maybe a bit of confidence is very clear because of that switch from my left hand to my right hand. Again, even with limited mobility, it was enough because again, I'm not using pen pressure as much. Well, in fact, not at all, because I'm using a lasso fill tool. So it's just like one solid thing. So I did like the way it did the eyes, because her face, most of her face is actually in shadow. And this is what's cool about doing black and white sketches, because if something is like fully in shadow, you can just add like this bits of white artifacts, and it just makes it look so, even though it doesn't look accurate, it looks good, right? It looks like it was flipped. If you ever flip like an image in a negative kind of way, yeah, it looks weird. But if it's enough, if it's not too overly done, I think it has that nice graphic look to it, and it works. Although I do think I eventually adjusted the eye a little bit, because I think that white shape was just too much for the eye. So I believed I removed some bits of it. So yeah, you can see me work a bit on the neck there. So yeah, again, her clothing is kind of almost falling off, so maybe she's kind of tired, or maybe she's just stressed, and maybe that's why she's smoking her pipe thing. I did have trouble illustrating the hands, the one closest to her, not the one holding the pipe. The one that's kind of in her abdomen, it's sort of mixed in with her clothing, and I'm not a fan of it. I should have spent a bit more time fixing that. But now the one holding the pipe, I do like it. Very simple. I was able to simplify the hand with just a few shapes, and yeah. So when you're doing this sort of thing, don't try to render it. Don't try to shade. Just try to simplify. If you can solve it in one stroke, in one shape, then go for it. If you want to do like really small shapes, do it later, kind of like what I'm doing now, and focus on the big major silhouettes and shapes in the beginning. All in all, I did enjoy this sketch, and yeah, I do recommend you try this yourself, and yeah, keep sketching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.